You're off to work again. You need to make a wage, although you kind of feel like it's a waste of days. Measuring the hours of your life in the paper made, and now your pleasure is devoured and it's getting tedious to take the pace. You're sick of staying late and rising early with the day to face, you know, punching them numbers in that database and pretending that you care about the day-to-day. These office politics, they are enough to make your faith decay. And then this morning you were staring in your mirror with your razor blade and you noticed with a shiver that your face was grey. Because you realise you're actually pissed off every single time your train's delayed, and now you got this weird feeling like you're beginning to fade away. But it's cool though, because you got this girlfriend that you've been seeing for a while now. And yeah, you love her, but you don't really feel the same when she smiles now. You only ever make love with the lights out, and she don't really seem as on it as she used to. But it's fine, because now's the time for settling down, right? The time for making do. So you go home, you turn your brain off, and you rent a film off pay-per-view. Sometimes you wonder what your younger self would make of you, but you're happy in a way, just like any of your mates from school. And it's true, the cooler ones all went and got them arts jobs in Shoreditch, and now you meet them in the bar, you watch them carry on like heartthrobs, and it always ends up messy. No matter how chilled out it starts off, all of a sudden you're gonna get yourself involved in a dance-off. You're like, mate, this is great, and I am rushing my arse off. Stood there feeling like you're on some kind of ride that you can't stop. Next thing, you're in a chippy, round with some prick who's got a fast gob. Just another night to wake up from and laugh off. And so, life goes on in the bubble. It's tunnel vision all week, right? And the weekends, we're there for seeing double. So how are we ever going to see that we're in trouble? We're like a dog wagging its tail, expecting a treat, because it's learned how to put on its own filthy, stinking muzzle. And so, life goes on in the bubble. It's tunnel vision all week, and our weekends, we're there for seeing double. How are we ever going to see that we're in trouble? We're like a dog wagging its tail, running off to fetch its own muzzle. So now you're walking through the city with your shoulders squared. You're like, man, I'm from the ends. You lot don't know the kind of load I bear. You're looking at the people that you pass with a ferocious glare. These fucking suits and ties going on like they don't know you're there. You're sick of feeling insignificant. Your ambition's as brilliant as anybody else's, but your temperament is militant. Because every other day brings the death of an innocent. This inner city living, you're seeing more wakes than Finnegan. And all around you is suspicion, power games and fast living. Everybody's trying to get paid. Can't even rave without someone getting stabbed over something. It's a crying shame. Because you're like, fuck the higher plane, I want a fast car and a diamond chain. It feels like everybody's out here trying to find their fame. They want their names to ring out like the alarms before the sirens came. They just want to leave the people shaking like a lion's mane. You've been denied for so long, you're so sure you have a prize to claim. So tell me, is it time for grief or is it time for blame? I'll tell you it's time for neither, mate. It's a time for change. Because where I'm from, young boys are given sentences before they've even learned to sign their name. And all you're trying to do is find your way through the lies and pain. Although that said, you have got your heart set on some new kicks, right? Want them fresh black Nikes with the blue stitch, right? So you've been putting in the hours, moved a few bits. What's the point in aiming any higher? It seems useless. And so, small victories in our cities full of rubbish, where our children are either overfed or undernourished, where our talent's suffocated before it can be encouraged, and our true selves are completely ignored. So tell me, what's the point in hoping for more? If there are soldiers at war and they are dying without knowing what for, all you want to do is think nothing, sit and smoke up a drawer. We're going nowhere, like a boat on a shore, oblivious to the whole beautiful ocean. We're a token of a broken, divorced generation whose throats don't know the rapport. Don't get me wrong, just like everybody else, I got my rent to pay. All I'm trying to say is it feels like we're so caught up in the everyday, we've given all our strength away. And so, life goes on in the bubble, tunnel vision all week, right? The weekend's got to be for seeing double, but how are we ever going to see that we're in trouble? We're like a dog wagging its tail, enjoying the stench of its own muzzle. And so, life goes on in the bubble, tunnel vision all week, and our weekends, we're there for seeing double. How are we ever going to see that we're in trouble? Unless we look each other in the eye and say, do you know what? There's a lot more to my life than the everyday struggle.
Kate Tempest, welcome to Secret Sessions.
Thanks for having me.
That was just so good. I'll be honest, yeah, I mean, you've probably heard this a million times, but your lyrical flow is on another level.
Thank you.
It's amazing, it really is, you're just the way you command words, really. How did you get into doing it, and how old were you when you realised that you kind of had this gift?
Well, I was writing from a very really young age, but I was really shit for like a long time. So
Yeah.
like, that's what I think it's really important if you've got a passion for something to just keep going at it, because even if you've got a talent, I had a real affinity with language. I love reading. I loved when I was listening to music. It was the lyrics that I listened to kind of even before the music.
So when you've got a new idea,
Yeah.
what happens? Do you sit down and just write about it, or?
It depends what the idea is. If I'm doing like I started writing for theatre, writing longer pieces. So you start with an idea definitely, and you kind of work your way through it. And with things like that, it's good to have the idea completely whole before you even begin writing. But with poetry, and if I got a feeling, you're walking down the street or you're on the bus, you've just had a row, or something's happened, and you get this like really instinctive like feeling. I find it hard to make sense of my feelings until I've kind of written them down. Sometimes I talk it out loud to myself when I'm walking down the street, and you have to repeat it loads of times because it has to get in there. So then you're just like that mental girl walking down the street, talking to herself in the rain.
I mean, you're a woman of many talents.
Thank you very much.
Your band's Sound of Rum.
Yeah.
Taking a little break at the moment, but you're still keeping engaged musically, aren't you?
Yeah, I've just the Sound of Rum album is available if anyone wants.
In all stores.
But we've taken a break because I was doing lots of different stuff. I've just made a solo record with a guy called Dan Carey.
Yes.
Who's
he's an amazing producer.
He's awesome. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's a bit of a dream come true.
Yeah.
Of someone to work with. When we were very creative together, and sometimes if you're working with people, it can either be a little bit competitive and a bit awkward. When someone's doing something really good, the other person, I don't know, it can be a bit weird. But with Dan, it's like everything he does makes me like go, oh yes, wow, brilliant, like, and then I can just go, oh, I'll do this, and he's like, oh well, yeah, I'll do that, and like
just thriving off each other.
By the end of the 2 weeks in the studio, it was just like this constant like, so I'm really excited about the record we made. Yeah.
That is so exciting.
It's really exciting.
Oh, I'm really excited to hear that, because I was kind of thinking, you kind of been doing, you do a lot of your spoken word stuff, but yeah, the music stuff had taken a little bit of a back seat, hadn't it?
I was trying to find the right beats, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just the right vibe. It's hard. The spoken word thing was a bit of an accident. I didn't mean to do it. It just kind of happened, and then it's allowed me lots of different opportunities to do different kinds of writing. But music is like my complete heart and soul. It's like I absolutely love playing with music. Yeah. So I'm ranting on as well.
I was going to say, actually, on the subject of ranting on.
So shut up.
No, not at all. Because when you perform, it's incredibly like motivational. I was sat on that chair, and I was like, I want to get up at the end and be like, yeah. But like, there must be things that feed into what you're talking about in your spoken word, that just what really grinds your gears, like what really gets you riled.
I don't know. Like, I'm a very passionate human being.
Yeah.
I think that I feel when I feel something, I really feel it, and like it is quite embarrassing when you wake up the next day after having done a gig and you're like, what did I tell all those people? Oh, it's my phone, sorry. Do you want me to go and turn it off, or we just...
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just vibe through it?
Yeah.
Might be Dan Carey.
Yeah.
Dan Carey, stop telling people you're working with me. I don't know, like, I used, when I was younger, lots of my poetry was coming out of like kind of anger and frustration, as it does when you're younger. And like now I'm writing like lots of love poems.
Yeah.
Lots of like quite chilled out. I don't know. I think when you're a creative person, no matter what your creativity is, like your senses are open to things in a different way. You really experience things. So like, literally, like the sun will come out, and it's like you feel it all the way through you. Or you. Today I was walking down the street, and there was like a broken toilet. There was just this old toilet, and it was like just on the road there. And there was this guy over there with like a little dog, and the dog was the dog was really old. I don't know, just like little. That doesn't make any sense.
He was trying to get in the toilet.
Well, he was just like trying to check out what this like thing was, this toilet, and the guy was on the phone. I was just watching. You watch the city play out, and that was a really boring way of telling you that like interesting things happen all the time. Yeah. I absolutely love people. I think people are amazing. Like I'll just sit at like Euston Station and just like check people out. Like, not in like a sexy way, like just the way they talk to each other, and the way people are when they're waiting for trains, or like I think I think life is beautiful. I think it's fucking amazing, and even when it's terrible, I think that's pretty awe-inspiring as well. You know? But
well, keep checking out those random people.
Yeah, don't put that. It's a fucking silly thing to say. I should have said something really profound, shouldn't I?
No, because it is the little things that are just
I tell you what it is. It's like it's where I'm from because I'm from London, and you're around people all the time, and you're around so many people so much of the time you forget to see anybody, and then when you kind of snap out of yourself and you start to look at people, I think it's just like, it's mind-blowing. It's one of the things that honestly, if I lived by the sea, I'd probably get that feeling from the ocean. Yeah. I still do, but like, you get it from big crowds of people or from just watching an old guy in the pub, rolling a fag. It's like little things.
Yeah.
Here's a confession. I get on, I'm 27 years old, and I get on public transport as a child, and I haven't bought an adult. In fact, in my whole life, I think I've only ever paid an adult fare on the train or the bus, like 4 times. Unless we look each other in the eye and say, do you know what, there's a lot more to my life than the everyday struggle.